Kevin Durant and the Rockets working to find an extension. Will they get it done? And what does this mean for LeBron James as well? Kevin Durant, one of the elder statesmen in the NBA, a true superstar. He's getting a new deal. Why is LeBron James heading into free agency next summer? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Don't forget to turn on those notifications as well. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. Donnie, how you doing? Happy Saturday.
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm excited to be home and not have to run around town all day today. So it's a happy Saturday to you as well.
You don't have too many errands to run. Don't know if
No.
maybe Bed Bath and Beyond. Don't know if we'll have time, but but let's take a look at this here. So this is via Brian Windhorst of ESPN. The Rockets and Kevin Durant have had discussions about a new contract, and there is belief they will come to terms, but they've yet to come to an agreement. Durant, and this is an article about Durant and his contrast with LeBron James and how they overlap, quite frankly, a lot. Durant, like James, no longer viewed as a centerpiece as Houston builds around the core of players, but instead he is viewed as the final component. And it's expected that he will not be getting, or he might need to accept, less than a maximum contract, which he's been on since 2011, done 14 years on a max contract for Kevin Durant. And for the first time now, he may need to accept less than a max contract. I don't have a problem with that. We're talking about the extension that the Rockets would be looking to do would be tacking 2 years on to Durant's deal. So he'd have 3 years total on this contract.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kevin Durant at age 37, especially if you're getting him at a non-max number, he's got the game that's going to age gracefully. Kevin Durant's going to be hitting that pull-up 15-footer when he's 60. So I don't think extending him, adding 2 years onto his deal is the worst thing in the world here for the Houston Rockets.
No, it's definitely not. Like, KD is not the same KD of old, of course. He's 37. He shouldn't be expected to be, but he's still absolutely, if not the literal best at what he does, he is absolutely still one of the best in the NBA doing it. So getting him at I would say below market number, below max. That's pretty great personally. But, I think it's interesting when you try to contrast that because, we're going to talk about LeBron a little bit. At 37, he was still very much taking and accepting or making, and being worth that maximum number as well. So that's kind of where things are with KD. I mean, if KD is expected to not be, he's more of like the finishing touch on this roster to try to get them over the hump, then I can understand that too. But we talked about it previously that with KD, maybe he's just better off and the team's better off coming to a situation where they don't say, okay, we'll give you the full on max, but can we settle on a number that's close to it? Because if the max is, let's say 55, is he willing to take 45? Is he willing to take 50? I mean, that haircut does help tremendously, right? And I don't know that the implication here is that he's going to be taking like 35 or something like that, but
no, but especially when you're looking at the Rockets and they've got to figure out, they've got Tari Eason, who they're going to want to make sure that they can bring back. You're going to have new contracts that are coming in for, Fred VanVleet's got a player option here. Like all of that is going to matter. All of this is going to stack up and be really, really important for the Houston Rockets because they're going to have to figure out these new contracts for some of their younger guys that they want to keep. And if you're KD, I think giving the Rockets the flexibility to continue to keep these young players around them just means that you are increasing your own longevity because you're not going to have to do as much of the heavy lifting when you've got guys like Tari Eason that you can now keep around. Amen Thompson, of course, on his deal, he's going to be doing another contract, not this coming summer, but the one after that. So
does he get a max, by the way? I'm looking at this and I'm thinking,
I don't know.
I think I'm going to really enjoy that Şengün and maybe even the Smith contract a couple years from now. I think they're going to really be worth that money. But I'm looking at Thompson. I'm like, man, if he's able to take that step forward, I mean, he might be, because they don't have a guy. KD is the guy technically, but aside from KD, they don't got a guy that's on this roster that's taking that max slot space.
He's there defensively. Offensively, he's got a ways to go. So that's the big question is can he get there on the offensive side of the ball? Can he increase his efficiency? We know, I mean, insane freak athlete, quick twitch, so much fun to watch. But 28%, I'm rounding up to get there from behind the arc, not a consistent shooter. That's going to have to get better. Just 68% from the free throw line, and that's consistent over the last 2 years. Usually free throw shooting talent tends to give you a little bit of idea of overall shooting talent. So there's reason to be concerned there in terms of what's his true offensive upside. But like a multi-time defensive player of the year career is not out of the question. I'm not projecting that for him, but that's not out of the question. Like, that's how talented he is as a defensive player. So maybe, I guess, is the short answer. He could wind up getting max, but a lot of it's going to depend on what happens for him this season and then next season.
Yeah, and that's not all. Like, he's, like you mentioned earlier, hyper athlete, really, really good rebounder, solid playmaker, good ball handler. They play him at the guard a good bit as well. Like, I think he's very versatile, and he's another. We talked about it last video, literally, where it's like, man, if this guy or these guys are able to just add that shooting piece to it, it's
so many guys though that we say that about. If only this guy could shoot.
Like, but there are also some outliers where it's like, okay, they don't need to shoot. They could still do what they want to do. I don't know if he's going to be that guy on the offensive end, but certainly I think is going to be one of the better, and he's already one of the better perimeter defenders in the NBA right now.
Right.
And so I would project for him to make a lot of money for this team. Now, the Rockets have been very savvy with the contracts that they've offered, and maybe they unless he takes a huge step forward this season, maybe they look at it and say, hey, well, we can offer you more, but just not the rookie max that you'd be, trying to get. And the Rockets would be really smart to try to lock him up, of course, not let this drag or anything like that. I don't think they would want to do that, but maybe they can come to an agreement on that. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because, KD is that guy right now for them, and they don't really have another guy. I really like their books, especially like the Şengün contract. I think it's going to age great. Like, I like the way they've structured it.
Yeah, I do like the Rockets books moving forward. They've got a lot of young talent. They are structured very well. And when you look at this, Kevin Durant, you can, because the age 38 rule, he's the most you can add on is 2 years, especially if you can add on, if you're the Rockets and you can include any kind of, not fully guaranteed final year just to protect you against any kind of decline. You look at what they did with the Dorian Finney-Smith contract. And I thought that was brilliant. You look at him, the concern right at 32 years old is, oh no, if we give him a 4-year deal, what does that look like in the last couple of years of the deal when he hits, 34 years old? Well, they completely eliminated that risk because he has no money guaranteed for the 3rd year, no money guaranteed for the 4th year. So, and I'm not saying, Kevin Durant may be of the stature, obviously way different than Finney-Smith, maybe of the stature where are you really going to try to put non-guaranteed money onto Kevin Durant's contract when he's already taken less than a max? I'm just saying it would be ideal from the Rockets perspective, but if push came to shove, if I'm getting him at below max and I can add 2 years onto this and say, okay, now we've got this window, Kevin Durant's going to finish his career in Houston. We're going to let him sail off into the sunset. And by the time he does, Amin Thompson is a full go. He's taking over. Jabari Smith, we'll see where he's at. Şengün, what's he doing? The young guys will fully be sailing the ship for us. I think that is an appealing path forward for the Houston Rockets.
And worst comes to worst, you could probably pivot off of KD on that deal a couple years from now if you need to.
Potentially.
Like, say maybe he has health concerns or things like that, which he's had in the past. Maybe things don't go great. You could technically pivot off him. So that's there too. So if you get him on a good number, if you're Houston, there's avenues you could take, to help this team for a long time as well.
Now, if they don't come to terms on a deal with Kevin Durant and you lose Dylan Brooks, you lose Jalen Green, you lost the pick that became Common Maluach, you lose all that stuff, and you only get 1 year out of Kevin Durant, it's not the worst thing in the world because he's Kevin Durant, right? Even then, you can make an argument for, they didn't do too badly there, but that wouldn't be ideal. So I do think the Rockets get a deal done. But Donnie, one of the things ESPN was talking about here was not just KD, though. It was about LeBron and how different they are. Like, both of them have uncertain futures right now, though it's pretty clear, like the Rockets, they're probably going to extend Kevin Durant. Whereas James and the Lakers did not negotiate a new contract this summer. And after he picked up his player option and assured he'd be a free agent 2026, this is the first time in his career, first time in over 20 years that there's been no contract or option for next year. There's no player option, nothing on that deal. And as we sit here and we talk about Kevin Durant at 37, LeBron's going into his age 41 season, but should this be the situation that LeBron is in right now? Or should we be talking about a new deal for LeBron as well? Should the Lakers and LeBron have tried to come up with a new contract the way that the Rockets are trying to do with KD.
It's apples and oranges to me. I don't even see the point in trying to make this comparison, other than the fact that they're two long-standing NBA stars, that at one point were arguably I don't even think it's all that arguable, especially pre-Steph, the number 1 and 2 guys in the NBA. And then when Steph comes in, they're a mixture of the top 3 guys. So other than that, I don't really see it, because the situations are very different. For example, it's the first time LeBron's 41 years old. Right. Obviously, that only happens once, but he's never been 41 years old.
It's also the first time that Kevin Durant's been 37, though, right?
Right. But that's something you have to throw out there. There's also the first time LeBron's played with a Luka Doncic. Right. It's also the first time a team has had a Luka Doncic on the roster that's significantly younger than LeBron, and they're trying to pivot away and build a team around a younger star. So the situation in LeBron's age is, again, a huge piece of this, because LeBron is 36, 37, like KD is. He's getting a contract extension. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But even if they are trying to pivot, right, they would still offer him that deal, because they would see that he's 4 or 5 years younger and do it. So I don't really see it so much. And I think also the situation is different, because the Rockets explicitly targeted Kevin Durant and added him to their roster
to be the final piece.
Yeah. The Lakers have had LeBron on the roster for 8 years now. They've pivoted, built a roster, whatever it is, and they've had him around. And now at this point, they're saying, okay, we've done this, but now we have options that we can do other things.
Yeah.
So it's just not at all the same circumstance to me.
The Rockets are trying to lock into a team. The Lakers are trying to maintain flexibility.
And so we're talking about another team entirely around somebody else,
around Luka, right? Yeah, around a different player. So I do think it's fair to say the context is completely different. Let me ask you this though: LeBron, second team All NBA last year. He was 6th in MVP voting at 40. LeBron James at 41, going into his age 41 season. Kevin Durant going into his age 37 season. Who's the better player right now? There's no wrong answer. I mean, any team would love to have either one of them, but who's you know what I mean? When we're talking about, LeBron's going to be 41, Kevin Durant's only 37. Yeah, but is LeBron at 41 better than Kevin Durant at 30? LeBron at 40 was 6th in MVP voting, better than just about everybody else in the NBA, except for 5 guys, 6, depending on how you want to rank everything. So does the age matter as much? Is Kevin Durant at 37, is that the same as LeBron being 40 or 41 because of how good he still is?
Yeah, I'd say you could go either way, depending on what you value more and depending on the team around these guys. For example, if LeBron he's going to be a bit marginalized this season, playing second and sometimes even third option out there. And he did it a lot last season. If you needed LeBron to be more of and you could argue whether or not he could do this for you, but if you needed him to have the ball in his hands more often, get him back up, high usage and all that stuff, and in that type of role specifically, I'd say that with the skill set he provides, I'd have him. But I think KD is such a seamless fit in what he can provide that I would say 1A KD, 1B LeBron. And I think KD's underrated on the defensive end. And I also think LeBron is also underrated, but some of that's just that, particularly LeBron. KD does it too, but LeBron he's somebody that takes those nights off.
He picks his moments. Yeah.
He's honestly done it for the better part of the last 6-7 years. Right. And that's just kind of how it's been. But when you need him to get a stop, when you need him to lock in, he's still capable of doing it. And in the playoffs, he was out there looking like their best defender for the most part out there. You could argue whether or not that's a good thing, but he can still do it for you, right?
They did not look good defensively in general, so it was a bit of a low bar.
You can argue it, but he can still do it. And I think KD is a great second side rim protector to help you out with that. I think he can still help you with that length and athleticism that he still has at his age. So I like both of these guys, and I think that if the shoe was on the other foot, and the Rockets were in a situation where they targeted LeBron, say he wasn't on the Lakers, of course, I think that they would still be obviously really well off. They would probably offer LeBron that extension. I think it would all work out the exact same way that it's working for KD, right? But I think that if KD was on the Lakers, because he's younger, would also get that extension.
Yeah.
But I think what the most important thing with the Lakers is that, and I've said this before, I think they're going to do shopping this offseason with that flexibility.
Yes.
That's what the most important thing is.
It is not written in stone that they may not be locking into LeBron, but they are not pushing him away necessarily either, and saying that there's no chance that they keep him next summer. I think they're going to keep their flexibility open, and it's possible, as you said, they're going to do some shopping and then take care of LeBron and bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly
now
possible.
that
And we don't know, like, we know Kevin Durant wants to play for those another 3 years or whatever. We don't know that. And we don't know where LeBron's at. LeBron may not want to play after this season. We don't know what his plan is going to be for his future.
That's another thing too. Like, that's why the age is so important. But and bringing him back after doing the shopping doesn't mean that it would be, I mean, technically it could be on a max if they're not able to do anything.
Hey, if they go win a championship this year.
Yeah, for sure. And then all of a sudden he got an extension, right? But it could be that they go out there, they're able to bring in a couple other guys that fit pretty good and say, hey, LeBron, we've got 25.
Yeah.
How does that sound? Like that's where it could be. And to tie it back into the very beginning of the video, we're talking about KD and the number he could take. Both of these guys, if they take less money, that would help out with obviously the team's ability to put better pieces around you. And KD, the longevity of that team, especially if you're locked in for more years on the roster. But then the question turns to, is the player still producing at that salary? Should they be asked to take that pay cut? And that was the big controversy with LeBron this offseason. Is like, people were like, oh, and I think that he really shot himself in the foot by offering that last season, because nobody really thought about it. Nobody really, they offered it last offseason. It's like, oh, so this is actually a thing now.
That he would take less if the Lakers were able to add certain players. Yeah.
You could argue that was the big thing this offseason. Everyone was mad that he didn't do that. And some of that was probably just because he wanted to retain the no trade clause. And if he does take a new deal, he probably doesn't get it back. So that's probably the most important reason why. And the Lakers still ultimately got that space by DFS leaving the team. But, you could argue whether or not the players are worth it. And in LeBron's case, he's somebody that's still produced very highly last season. So I don't know.
I think these are guys that are worth max contracts, but can they do the heavy lifting all year long? No. So therefore, do you need to have more depth around them in order to be sustainable? Yes. And that's where convincing them to take less makes some sense. But 2 all-time greats. I'm excited. They're going to match up on Christmas Day. I'm excited to see that. We're going to see LeBron and Steph Curry on opening night. We're going to see Kevin Durant have to go watch his old club, the Thunder, get their first rings ever on opening night. So there is as much as like we're moving on to the new guard in the NBA and all of that, like a good chunk of this season is going to revolve around the big 3 long in the 2 stars, LeBron, Steph, and Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Speaking of the old guard, you know how I said that to start the other video? Somebody, I don't know if you saw it, but they left a really long comment and said, Donnie, you inspired me to write a poem to the old guard. And for each of those guys, they wrote like a paragraph, a poem.
Look at that. I'm going to have to go back. I missed that one. You see that not only are we talking hoops here, we are inspiring art. We are changing the world one basketball story at a time right here at the Basketball Bulletin. Oh, incredible.
It was great, man.
I'm going to have to go back and read it.
Yep.
all the more reason for everybody to make sure you are subscribing to the channel, because you never know. You may watch one of our videos and get inspired on an artistic level. We'll touch your soul with basketball content.
Anyway.
We appreciate all of you. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Please make sure you do subscribe right here to the channel. And don't forget to check out the podcast as well. The link is in the description. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.